This meeting is being recorded.
It's 5:30. I'm going to call the February 26, 2026 Shoreline Fire Department RFA Board of Commissioner meeting to order. We'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Noting into the record that Commissioner Pratt has an excused absence tonight. And everybody else is in attendance. We have,
Lisa remote.
yeah, she's in attendance, remote, but she's here. All right. Do we have public comment? Approval of the past minutes.
Somebody's waiting.
Ken. Okay, so we need to ask who that is.
Is he?
He's there, yeah.
He's in?
Yeah. You wanna ask
Go ahead.
Hi, we see that Ken has joined. Ken, can you identify yourself and what city you're from?
Hi, I'm Ken Dean, DEHN, and I am a Kenmore resident.
Kenmore, thank you. Okay,
Does he have a comment?
did you have a public comment, Ken?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you. Ken from Kenmore. Moving on to approval of the past minutes from February 5th, 2026. Are there any corrections or questions? Okay, well, the minutes have been distributed. If there are no further corrections or comments, the minutes will be approved as distributed. Moving on to standing agenda warrants. Motion to approve.
Move to accept disbursements in the amount of $4,200,030.78.
I'll second that.
Been motioned by Commissioner Heavlin and seconded by Commissioner Harris. Is there any changes or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Commissioner report. Does anybody have anything? Eric?
I'll support the Climate Action Committee meeting is scheduled for March 17th at 13:30 here at Station 61.
Okay, we'll put that down on a projected agenda. Anybody else? Rod?
Other than the fact that some of us attended the push-in, the new ladder truck, a couple of days ago, over at 63. Had a few people there.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Was that truck running or in neutral?
It was running, but it was in neutral. It wasn't under power, but it was running so that we have power steering.
Oh, okay. Well,
So we really did
that's
push
po-
that thing in.
Yeah.
Okay, that's positive. Someone told me that it wasn't really pushed in and I just wanted.
No,
running.
Just keep it, just to be safe.
Yeah, no, I understand. You can't steer, so no, that's good.
Theoretically, it should have just gone straight back, but
Brakes. Well, it's also good to have somebody with a foot on a brake. You don't really know when you hit the end.
Oh, no, that's all. I'm all for it. I got no problem. Someone told me they didn't really push it.
I could tell when we pushed it.
Thank you.
Tyler, do you have anything? Barb?
No, I really enjoyed the push-in ceremony. My first one,
Yeah.
and it was really great.
I hope you can make the next one. Rick, did you have anything?
Nothing for me.
Rick?
Nope.
nothing? Okay, I attended the push-in ceremony too. It was wonderful. Financial report. Chief,
So this is the December financial, there it is, the December financial report. The good news is, we ended up under budget, but that was kind of expected considering how we had been progressing through the year. We did have some late breaking expenses on the capital fund side mostly, and then also in December and in January, there was retroactive checks for the ratified contract reconciliation. So there was some bigger expenses there. One of the things I do want to bring your attention to is the cash on hand was quite a bit less than expected, and that was because we did not get the transfer in because of everything else going on. We did not get the transfer in from the fire districts. The money overall, the money's still there, and you'll see some of that in upcoming financial reports.
any questions? Moving on to statistics report. Very nicely done, whoever did this.
Michelle.
Michelle, very nice.
Very good.
Anybody have any questions?
It's on our site, on our website.
It will be.
It should be.
It will be.
It's.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Can you make sure that Kimberly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I thought so too. But coming.
How's
from
that
you, that's
calculated?
Kind of a yay,
That's kind of what?
kind of a yay for sure. I have to go back and dig out my one from last year and compare numbers. Yeah, I gotta get back upstairs first. We're
Well, that's-
living in the basement right now.
No problem. Be nice to compare.
Yeah, would. Okay, if there's no comments or questions, let's move on to the strategic activity report. Anything?
Mostly revolving around the potential of Bothell joining the RFA, which we have a agenda item later. So
Okay, RFA activity reports. Let's start with Chief Callens. Anything for Chief Callen?
Are the significant requests currently are impacting staff our usual source, or is there a lot of other things?
usual plus some others.
I noticed one of the other reports talked about their activities are being curtailed because of large number of requests.
So I'll be able to explain a little bit more when we get to
No
executive
end
session.
in sight. Yeah. Okay. Question for you, Chief, the generator 57, is that done now?
The last, I don't know, do you have an update? The last report I got from Chief Hochstein was, there was a delay, but then they were back on board. I don't know. I know that they tested it and that there was an issue. It didn't transfer over automatically like it was supposed to. So the last I heard was that they were troubleshooting it.
Okay.
If it's not, everything's, I think, in there, they're just troubleshooting it. If it's not perfectly in service right now, it's very close.
And then the HVAC part of it.
I don't know anything about that. Do you know anything about the HVAC at 57?
Yeah, they're getting closer. I didn't notice they were plugging some holes last time I was down this busy. So
Okay. The good news, I think we're getting close on it. Yeah.
So it's not been done.
Yeah. I apologize for not, we, Chief Hochstein, got stuck in Mexico. So this whole week. So, yes, I apologize that we don't have a more up to date. He was in Puerto Vallarta.
Oh my gosh.
So he's fine. So he should have gotten on a plane about a half hour ago. So theoretically.
I wish I was still stuck there. All right. There's nothing else for Chief Callen. Let's move on to Chief Hookstein's report, even though he's not here. He did mention that the ventilator installation is complete.
Oh, okay.
And they're just wrapping up a few items.
I will
Talk
say,
about the first arriving monitors. I'm just curious what they are.
they're in, we're having a problem getting Norcom to communicate with them. And because one of the things that we would like to do is we'll have an incident pop up on the screen when we have something go. And they're troubleshooting it is my understanding.
Just kind of like take the place of the monitors that were there previously, but instead of just a browser window, it's more like a direct populated. Or
Yes and no. I mean, it is going to do that piece, but really the reason why we're going down this road is actually for us to be able to message out short messages from different divisions on a slideshow kind of repetitive slideshow. So like if there's a road closed or if like we've accomplished one of our goals, our strategic goals for 2026, I could put I have the authority and power to put something up there as a banner or something like that. And so this is a tool to improve on communications from different divisions on short messages, and this will be it'll be updated periodically, but it'll be on a rotating basis where it's looping back and pushing these messages out. In addition to the calls, it's not to just replace the calls like a CAD terminal or something like that, but it is another tool for announcing a call and where it's at, to the crews.
So it's kind of a hardware and a software piece.
Yes, both.
Anything else for Chief Hookstein?
I would like to add one thing it's kind of nice and maybe it'll help. It's in there, but just to bring some attention to it. We now have a non-water extinguishing system for our server room here. So it gives us better protection in case we do have an accidental trip or a real trip even. And we still have the redundancy back over at 63 as well, but and 51 to some degree. But just wanted to let you know, actually 51 and 63 to some degree. It's mostly at 51 for a redundancy. So.
And Chief Orms. Anything? Okay, on to old business. You skated through that one too. We'll get you. Oh, wait a minute, you might be up next anyway.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, service contract with Lion Total Care.
So I am going to kick this to Chief Orms. I think that there was some information that was disseminated to you. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at it. Hopefully I addressed any of the concerns and questions, but take it away.
Okay, so we talked about this a little bit at the last meeting. I briefed all of you on our desire to start a contract with Lion Total Care. The board asked some questions, which I replied to in writing. The fire chief replied to in writing. Were there any additional questions about the contract or the surrounding process? And again, this is for the inspection and cleaning of our
And repair.
repair.
It's expensive, but you got to do it. I have a choice.
It is expensive, but this directly impacts the safety of our crews. So it's unfortunate that's as expensive as it is, but it's money well worth it to help provide safety and health to our
Oh,
firefighters.
absolutely, absolutely.
So this is something we're adding to the budget for next year, then?
Correct. it's not in this budget, but it will be for next year. It's assuming that you approve it tonight. Yes.
So if we approve it, does that take any of the other, so we have bunker cleaning facilities,
It should
Yeah,
reduce,
that's-
I think I know where you're going. It should
Reducing
reduce
it,
some
yeah.
other line items. Yes,
Yeah.
it won't eliminate them, but it should reduce them. So there could be some cost savings that would reduce this build, to some degree. So,
It still is,
and
a-
as,
still is a net increase in cost,
Oh,
but
yeah,
we
yeah.
will save.
Yeah.
On.
and as a reminder, it's something that has become more and more of a priority in the industry. And even to the point of, I think we discussed this of our personnel that went down to California in the Palisades fire, and all of the hybrid and electric cars and the exposure that occurred there. We were concerned, and hats off to Andres for being proactive and like, hey, you know what, we need to go get all of our gear tested for heavy metals and things like that. And it's not something that would have really hit my radar, to be honest. It was a wildland fire. Well, okay, it wasn't like they were in a hazmat incident or something like that. But that's where we are really, the industry is starting to elevate, and this is a way for us to be, protecting our people better.
So do they have a local servicing place in the region here, or is it getting shipped?
This is,
It's local, but I don't know what town it's going to. I'm sorry.
I want to say Tukwila.
Yeah, I feel like it's.
I want to say Tukwila.
Is that like for the whole state?
The next closest is Portland.
Okay.
So yes, well, I don't know if it's for the whole state. I mean, it's at least the north, the western side.
Is it a relatively new company?
Lion has been around for a long time. I don't know how long Total Care. I don't know how long Total Care has been. I don't believe it's been all that long. I looked at it as a side business about 10 years ago of going into this type of work of the ultra cleaning of gear and all that, because I had been to a conference where they had presented on this. And at that time, Portland was the closest one, but the machines are super expensive, millions. And so I didn't pursue it. So this is something that has been on the radar a little bit for, say, maybe the last decade. But there hasn't been a regional service for us. Up until recently, and it's a long answer to your question, I think it is a more recent endeavor by Lion. And that in previously, everybody to do something like this, they would have sent the gear to Portland, which is really kind of expensive for shipping fees and all that too, and delays and so forth. And so I think that's one of the reasons why it's getting.
I was wondering if the guy got this thing all set up real quick, or if it's been.
Oh, I don't know.
Or
Lion is a
every
pretty.
state, 2 or 3 places in each state. It's quite a few centers to.
Well, my other question, are they gonna have, is this gonna go to competitive bid every year?
That's a good question.
No, because
If we would have to, how long of a contract are we?
it's a 1-year contract.
1-year contract. We would have to evaluate on an annual, every time the contract is up, to see if there's a competitive. There is no competition in the area, but that is a good question that we would have to do, every now and then some due diligence about whether or not there's another competitor that can offer the similar or same services.
What's the turnaround time on the guys the folks getting their gear back?
14 days, I think it's.
So they'd be required, are they gonna need to get a third set of them?
No, they would just use their second set while their gear is gone.
And then if there's another incident? Is there other gear?
Yeah, we have spare gear that would address that. We don't have any plans to get a third set. We sent, we had a lead acid battery incident. We sent 5 sets of gear for testing. And I think it took them just over a week to get all that.
Okay.
So.
Just gonna replace using the extractors and stuff at the stations? Are they gonna, after it's send it in, but they're still gonna do that and then just the biannual cleans?
This is more of a super duper clean, and the repair piece too, and the inspection and repair piece. So it's not to remove the gross decontamination from the extractors that we have.
Okay.
I mean, they do a decent job. They just don't take it as far as we would like on, and we can't do that every time. but that's the plan, is to at least annually.
So every structure fire, their gear's not going down there.
No,
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
The ozone cleaning and all that stuff that they add on.
So how many times a year are they gonna do this?
It really depends on how much exposure.
Okay.
you have.
So it's on a per request basis as opposed to just like a periodic basis.
Yeah, the ozone cleaning, the repairs are, the inspections are periodic.
Got it.
yeah.
The last year that the firefighters found out through a seminar they went to. Is that right?
Yeah, they attended a seminar where they were learning about all the new regulations around bunker gear. NFPA 1850 was the one that was instituted in 2025.
Do those regulations get mailed to us in case no one happens to go to a seminar?
It's a good question, because there are some things like
I think
this
we would.
that all of a sudden we're like, whoa,
Yeah.
and it's a surprise.
Kind of weird.
No, we don't. I mean, there is some opportunity through, like, say, the fire marshal's office, who's much more involved in NFPA standards and so forth. I don't know of a repository for all of this.
Surprised.
Like every time AHA makes a change, they send out these are the changes.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too, because just like, if there's a legislative change, the Washington Fire Commissioners Association has a lobbyist who will say, hey, we're following this bill, but
Yeah, and you get
there's no corresponding thing for an FPA.
Yeah. It might be because it's across so many different areas. Like, we're talking about bunker gear, but there's standards on driving and equipment and rope, and
We have to
it's
follow
just,
those, right?
yeah.
So
why couldn't
Some-
NFPA?
Some of them. The
Their
ones that are-
guidelines.
Yeah, the ones that are tied to WAC. I'm on a listserv, but this one didn't. hit my radar.
Thanks. I'm glad you're on that list.
So they'll come.
I'm not.
Pick it up and return it, excuse me. Okay, go ahead, no, I'm sorry.
No, I was.
So it's just a 1-year contract though. Cause it's got a every 5% automatic increase each year. I wonder if inflation is like 10%. And if it's just one thing, they have to do that.
And I think that if we like this service and to Rick's point, if we don't have any competition in the area, then we may want to go to a longer contract so that it's not, so we don't have the volatility of each year. But
Need to get a test of it for.
it'd be nice to see really how this works. And so a 1-year contract for us protects us.
So if we go to a longer contract, is there any decrease in price?
Good question. I don't know.
Don't know. Andreas,
I'm gonna look at the contract. I'm looking at the contract here just to double check, but I don't think we explored anything more than an annual basis here. I can get back to you on this.
that's fine. Any more questions? Concerns, comments? All right, do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we accept the service contract with Lion Total Care for this package. It's about this.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Webster. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Harris. If there's no further questions, all in favor?
I gotta do.
Opposed? Thank you, Lisa. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
7 business days to turn around. That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, on to Regional Fire Authority to Bothell.
Thank you. I sent you all a kind of a brief email trying to provide a brief update on where we were at and some of the conversations that have occurred and all that. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But there was a few things that I do want to bring attention to that and I've had a subsequent meeting even this week And that went well as well. The plan is still for the city council to consider the possibility of joining the RFA, and what we're looking for is kind of an endorsement of continuing to move forward with whatever information and package that we have. Assuming that they do that, then it would come back to this body to also endorse that information and kick it back to the city council to pass a resolution to put it on the ballot. I am working on some documents for the city council. One of them is what are the benefits of the joining the fire benefit charge, which I've shared a draft from 4-6 months ago. On that, I'm going to be expanding on that and putting it maybe in a little bit more polished manner. One of the other things that I'll be working on, I probably won't get it done before the March 10th meeting, is to do a line by line comparison of, like what I did with North Shore, of integrating the Bothell expenses into our current budget to do an apples to apples comparison in 2026 dollars to see really what that overall impact is, so that we can start to nail down a much better financial picture. And the final piece to that, which will occur after the March 10th meeting, would be to go back to Neil Blindheim, who's our fire benefit charge consultant, to do an analysis of all the properties in Bothell and Snow 10, because Snow 10 has to follow a parallel path on this. Well, they don't have to. It is very advantageous to them to follow a parallel path on this. And so to have Neil do a fire benefit charge analysis and to really nail down what the impacts are to all the properties, so that we can pair that up with the work that we've been doing on the budget to give a better financial picture of what this all looks like, specifically to the city of Bothell and the taxpayers in Bothell. The benefits, the impacts to the RFA are still at this, they're still very good. They're good for the impacts to Snow 10, but because of the convoluted nature of the Bothell budget, it's very difficult to really kind of figure out what those impacts are going to be to not only the city of Bothell budget, but the taxpayers. And that's really we need to be transparent and be able to identify those impacts and or explain if they're not, decreasing, if they're staying the same or increasing, then why. So one of the things that I've been working on and I shared with you is the 14 kind of questions that I came up with that need to be addressed, and I'm going to continue working on those. But one of them that is, there's two really important ones that seem to be resonating with the city, and that has to do with the financial picture, which I already explained, and then the governance. They just like the North Shore perspective, joining the RFA, they want to have representation at these tables, on our governing board, and that is a governing board decision. That's not something that I, I'm going to weigh in. Well, I can weigh in on it if you want my perspective, but this is a board decision. So it would be nice to land on that, what that looks like, so that we can relay that to the council, for the March 10th meeting. But that's kind of where I'm at right now today, is if you're, willing to have that conversation and make at least a decision at this point. This would not be cementing it in stone. This would be taking a position that would be part of the package for them to evaluate. And before we finalize anything, it would come back, for a final decision. That's the quick version.
What about Snow 10? They've got 3 commissioners.
They're a much smaller, entity in this. And my understanding is that the 2 commissioners that would be eligible to be part of our board are not interested. They are interested in getting, I called it the 3 R's. They're interested in the remodel. There's a major remodel of the one station that they own up in the northwest corner of Bothell. The major remodel, the regionalization, and then retirement. And so but I can have a more direct conversation about that with them. I don't believe that it would be I don't think it'd be prudent because they are a small fire district that to have them as representation on the board, but that's a board decision. I'm sorry, I'm overstepping. That's a board decision.
Well, they are commissioners, so you just can't make those positions go away.
If they absorb, if the district goes away and they become part of the RFA, similar to the North Shore situation, the district still remains because we have elected commissioners that need to be sitting on this board. If there's no need for the commissioners and there's no need for the district, then it can be fully absorbed into the RFA.
Okay.
Just is there,
I believe.
I guess I have a question about that, because I originally, when we formed the RFA, I thought that we would not still have separate commissions, but it turned out that we still do have separate elected commissions who are, part of the governance model. But why is that not the case for Snow 10?
Exactly.
So there's
So
okay. So what's that?
just so that we can have the equal representation of the two, so that we have 5 from 2 separate areas, right? Is that the?
But I guess the question is
To reduce down to 3 and 3, or to reduce down to anything, you can't just make 5 positions go away. It takes a vote of the people to go down and say, we want to reduce our board from 5 to 3. Okay, you can't, in my opinion, you can't just make 3 commissioners from Zone 10 disappear.
Well, that's part of what they're voting for. So they would be voting for the dissolution of Snow 10.
Okay.
And that would then become the RFA. So they wouldn't have governance, they wouldn't have a district.
Okay.
That's my understanding as well. To answer the question about the District 16, there was a reason that we needed to keep that board, not only for representation on this board, but there's a debt that still needs to be authorization from that district to collect the UTGO payment. So when the UTGO payment goes away, the only remaining necessity for District 16 will be to populate this board. And to your point, if we wanted to reduce that number from 5 to 3 or eliminate or whatever, that would take a vote of the people.
Right.
So, but that was also defined in our RFA plan. Because the RFA is now established, we can define whatever that plan is and present that, for 10 and Bothell.
So if we're to add Bothell and add commissioners to this governing board, does the voters of Shoreline and North Shore also have to approve that, since it changes our board?
No,
Okay.
and it would be council members, not commissioners. The RFA board needs to be populated by electeds. So in this case, commissioners or council members. So if Snow 10 is, dissolved and there's nothing there, we would be talking about what council members and not who, but how many council members would have seats on the RFA board. And that is a decision by the majority of this board. It does not require any voting or anything like that. And to be clear, Bothell and Snow 10 joining the RFA takes a simple majority vote of the people in each of those agencies. None of our voters, none of the RFA voters will vote on those measures.
That includes them assuming the fire benefit charge as well.
Yes.
It's amazing.
So we would have to decide if we want 5 commissioners.
Correct.
Or 5 council members.
Yeah, that's an interesting question too, because I wonder if 5 council members would want to be,
Yes.
because
Do you
now
want 15?
having experienced now as a new council member myself, you're asked to participate in a lot of other regional boards and committees. And so each of those individual council members has probably multiple other boards and committees they serve on. So I just wonder if we would have, it seems like from a equality standpoint, if we had 5 from Bothell, that would represent all components of the RFA equally, more or less. But I just wonder if we would find 5 that are willing.
Yeah, and there's another complication in this too, in that if it's more than 3, and I haven't looked at the legalities of this, but if it's more than 3, then that constitutes a quorum of the city council. So, and that's them coming, let's say it was 5. And they came over here and they were populating this board. Not only would we have a quorum, an RFA public meeting, you could argue that you're also having a city council meeting because you have a quorum of that board. And because there would be just a natural conversation and meetings, there's going to be a crossover to stuff that might constitute a decision of the city. So I'll just tell you my recommendation is 3 or less. I was going to stay out of this.
Well, 3 would be a quorum too.
No, they have a board of 7.
Excuse me.
So
I think 3.
So that I was going to say, but you bring up a really good point. Not only do they have a lot of other stuff going on, a lot of different committees and things outside the city and all that, but are you going to have people that are, and that the quorum thing, but are you going to have people that are really going to be invested in our work?
I'm sure they will once they join, but
yeah, we have some, there's some super passionate. I've had meetings with 2 of the new council members, the 2 oncoming, or they're already there now. The incoming council members in there, and they seem they're asking really good questions and are really excited and energized about, finding out about the fire department and all that. So there's absolutely going to be people that are going to be passionate and invested in us, but that's going to flex and wane, depending on what's going on.
The other question that occurs to me is just equity in decision making. If there's 3 versus 5 and 5, if there's a vote on something that affects Bothell, I guess, does that matter or does that really not matter?
It's up to this board to define how you want to set up your governing board.
I would think, if I may, if Bothell's coming on board, just like North Shore and Shoreline kind of merged together, we need to think of it as one group, not just it's Bothell.
Sure. Yeah.
It's North Shore. This is our group.
Yeah, I agree.
And you do bring up a good point, but I would argue too that whether you have 5 or 3 or 1 or 7, it doesn't matter. That's not going to outweigh the 10 that are here either. If you're looking at this as a group and another group coming in, they're still not going to have a majority.
Right,
So
that's what you're saying, 5 versus 10 as opposed to 3 versus 10.
I think you have a very good point of each of the issues that you might be voting on are going to be, impacting different areas of our fire department. And so, it's great to have all 10 of you vote unanimously on things, but there's going to be things that are going to, especially with 10 now, there's going to be, people that are going to vote different ways, potentially. And so I think it is a good point to make, but I don't think it is, something that's a line in the sand.
It would seem to me that eventually we would want to make the board smaller than it currently is. And if we did that with representation from everyone, then that would be 3, 3, and 3.
That is a possibility. You could reduce the 2 fire districts down to 3 each too, and then you would be at a board of 9. But that, I think, the feedback I've gotten is that there's not much interest in doing that anytime in the near future. So that would be something that maybe down the road. There is another option too, which I hesitate to because it makes it more complicated, is doing commissioner districts. But I believe that the way we're set up and or with potentially council members populating from Bothell, that this might be the right way to do it, and or potentially to decreasing to 3, 3, and 3.
Can we reduce this down to 3 without a vote?
No.
Okay, so we can increase without a vote, but we can't decrease.
No,
without a vote.
if you increase, you have to have a vote too.
Either way.
So if we add, this is the question I had a minute ago. If we add the commissioners from.
I'm sorry, let me
council
clarify. The fire districts cannot increase from 5 to 7 or to 3 without a vote. The RFA board for oncoming and existing, you can reduce down.
Gotcha.
So it does, but you bring up a really good point though. Let's just say you said, today we're going to reduce down to 3 and 3 from the 2 fire districts. That's great for the RFA governing board. but there's still 5 elected fire commissioners. So you'd have to come up with a plan of attrition or reducing down, but that would also take a vote. So basically, if you did that today, let's say you did that today. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying if you did, you could reduce down. And then you'd have 2 commissioners from each of the fire districts that'd be not involved. Lame. I don't know what you would call them, but not. They would not sit on this board. They could be alternates to come to a meeting and sit on the board, but you'd still have 5 commissioners, just 3 on the RFA board. Not advocating that tonight. Just to be clear.
So you and I had a conversation. I'll share it with the rest of the group so everybody's on the same page. I've suggested adding 1 city council because our board is huge as it is. And Chief brought up the point that would be great, but if that 1 person is absent, then they've missed what's going on and there's nobody else to report back to the city council. So possibly 2. That way you have a representation of 2. If one is missing something, as Eric pointed out, they've got other things going on besides attending our meetings twice a week and whatever else we've got going on. At least 1 might be able to be here and report back to Bothell.
For housekeeping, it'd be nice to land an odd number.
How big is Bothel's population? What if it was on a percentage of population, like
It's close to shorelines.
close to shorelines?
Yeah, it's 50.
I guess.
I want to say it's
Hey,
57,000.
Yeah.
Andres is going to look it up here in just a second.
I have some.
I think it's over 50.
You answered, so.
I feel like adding or offering them 3, so we have an odd number and they have, they don't have just 1, and 2 makes an even number. I feel like adding 3 kind of makes sense. And then I do feel like in a long term, it might make sense to reduce the whole board down to 9 instead of 13 and have like 3. But for the immediate term, I feel like a governing model of adding 3 would be something to offer them.
Yeah. Oh,
David, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in the future, down the road, potentially you could have all the commissioners from one X department, but we're all supposed to be blended,
Right.
if you reduce down the 3 from each of the fire districts, the fire district, you would not be able to have it all from 1. You would remain with those 2 fire. That could only occur if the fire district actually dissolved and was no longer.
But that's what we're gonna do.
You're saying once there's no more debt, then there's no reason why that could
Yeah,
not.
eventually.
But you could still, District 16 could still remain with the sole purpose of populating commissioners to this board. What I'm saying is that we cannot dissolve 16 now, even if we wanted to. Well, I mean, I guess you could, but we will lose the authority to assess the property tax for the UTGO. So I would strongly say we're not interested in doing that until the debt goes away at the end of next year. After that, there's not a financial piece to it, just a governing piece that could remain. And that's what some fire districts do. They remain just to populate the board, and we're only obligated to have a couple of meetings really a year from the fire districts. We have one every month, but you don't have to. There are some that really are on paper only. As a side note, I'm just going to say something that's really exciting to me is that you're all very passionate about being commissioners, and it's really cool. Usually there's a strain on trying to find people that are passionate and invested, and you guys, I say that all the time to other fires because we talk about some of those things, and I'm like, my board is super engaged and super passionate. So, and that's the feedback that I've gotten is like long term we might be able to reduce down to 3, but right now I think we need to stay at 5 and 5 until we have a better comfortability there.
Well, there's no urgency on that.
And there is, yeah. And it'll take a
Right.
vote too. So it needs to be intentional and we need to be able to put it onto the ballot. So
do we need a motion or just a consensus?
Well, let's see what everybody else is thinking too first, Eric. Rod,
As far as
a
Letting-
number
How many?
for
bring
Bothell?
people out, well, I hear what he's saying, they don't want more than three, it's absolute. That would wreak havoc to them, no matter what meeting they were in.
if I'm correct, I haven't looked into the legalities of it, but
I think you're correct.
I think I am.
We're saying this.
It's like you guys going to a commissioner, to a function
Yeah.
as a group of commissioners. If you have a quorum, you need to be very careful about making any decisions about.
Absolutely,
Yeah, it's the same thing.
and in some cases, they're gonna have the same topic.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. There's gonna be.
Yeah. I don't know, so I would say offering them 2 or 3 is, if that's the question you're asking me, then I think that would be fine. Because any more than that, they're just gonna open up a can of worms for them.
Tyler?
Yeah, I think 3 sounds like a reasonable number. It's not shorting them, it's not putting 15 people on a board, 13 still too many, but I think three's a fair offer.
Barb?
Yeah, 2 or 3, I agree.
Well, pick it.
Oh, two would be a split vote, wouldn't it? You got 5 plus 2 would be 10, 12. I mean, that wouldn't work, would it?
How many times have we had split votes?
Well,
In theory, that's a better idea to have an odd number.
I don't see how 2 works.
We've got 10 now.
That's a good point. That's a good point right there. I see. Then we have an.
We're gonna
even
be
number
like
of counts.
worlds
That's a good
all.
point. That's a good point. So maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe, I mean, it seems like, do we wanna, do you think Bothel's gonna have any input themselves on?
Oh, I'm sure they'll have
their
input on
preference?
this. But I would like us to, if possible, I would like us to take a position and then present to them what our thoughts are. So it makes it, because there's gonna be a bunch of other things that they're gonna need to weigh in on too. But this seems to be a big one for them to make sure that they have representation on this board.
Of course.
And to your point, even if we had 3, are they all 3 gonna be able to make it? To your point, that's one of the reasons why I don't think 1 is, because we're not gonna have representation. And it's nice to have other compatriots, and you guys talk to each other and stuff like that. So I think that whatever position we take, we could present to them and then they will give us feedback on whether they like it or not. They could come back and insist on 5 and say, we need 5 and we don't care about the quorum and that's the way it is. And then we will make a decision about if that's a line in the sand that we're not ready to cross or not, and the power is with you all. This governing board gets to set the structure of the governing board. And if we don't like whatever it is, then we can say we're not interested. So.
So Barb, going back to you.
I'll say 2.
3.
Rick?
3.
Lisa says 3.
I'd go 2.
I was gonna do 2 too. So is this a split vote now?
We get it.
Can
I'm
I
a
make
sponge, just tell me.
Can I make a suggestion? If we have to propose something to Bothell, can we propose 2 and see what they say? If they come back and say 3, then we can change it to 3.
Yeah,
How come?
negotiate.
We can say 2 or 3.
What would be the reason for 2 versus 3?
Just instead of having a board of 13, a board of 12, it reduces the number.
Okay, I think that
Just be careful, guys, what you ask
only,
for.
if the only reason is just because, I think that there's a couple reasons to have more representation for Bothell. I think when you propose it to them, it's more of a good faith offer, right? Like saying 1, I think is kind of a kick in the butt. Like, okay, we'll let you come join our meetings, but you're not really gonna be part of the group. Even 3, I don't feel like, 5, like, hey, we'll offer you guys 5. Here's the problems we see with 5. 3 might be a better option. What do you think? That would be a really good faith offer to go to Bothell, that we're going to say that this is going to be one RFA board and you're going to have equal representation. I think that they would feel better about that. I think if you just throw 2 without a good justification or reason why 2, I don't feel like it carries as much weight.
And my thought on that also is that if we're eventually looking to get 3, 3, and 3, it would just seem to me we would offer the 3 up front, and that's one less thing to worry about in a couple years down the road. Is trying to then add someone else extra in.
I think that's also a good point if we're looking towards the future of this whole thing. If we want to have an equal board of 3, 3, and 3,
Very good.
that I think that makes a lot of sense. So
So are we still at a split vote? Has anybody changed?
Maybe take a straw vote, I guess.
Well, let's see here. So there's 9 of us here, actually. There's Pratt's not
Maybe
here.
not
There's
5,
9 of
5.
us.
So
So you said 3,
I did.
3, 3, 3, 3. That's 5.
They go.
Thick glass. Thick glass. Sounds adversarial.
No, Mitch. Let's just count, you know, some mathematical computation, it's not.
That's true.
There are no things involved. What a hell.
No, this is feedback to me.
yeah, we want you to.
Yeah. You okay? Okay, all right. Well, thank you again. Oh, okay. So,
You said, are you okay?
oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, I guess offering them 3 might be the way to go.
Yeah.
Who knows when we're gonna pare down, but if we play it.
Well,
pare down-
and they could come back and insist on 5 and say, we want equal representation and all this. And then
And that's
this will
good.
come back to you guys and say if that's okay or not.
You propose it,
then let. Really be careful of wanting to do more than 3, because if we do, number one, there's the fact of us maybe going smaller. But what if we want to get bigger? So then are we gonna?
Yeah.
say every time that we're gonna match the 5 and 5, and then we're 15, then we're 30.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I think
When
you guys have talked about it quite a bit already of like where we want to go in the future too. And I think 3 is especially if we could increase to 7 and 7, but I think the general, the feedback I've gotten is that less is more in the future, at some point in the future. And so this would make more sense now.
when I first talked to Kim about my position, I was like, well, can't this position just drop off because it's already a 10-person board?
It can,
Yeah,
I mean.
But then she, realizing the fact that it has to be about the people in order to decrease the size of the shoreline.
And I did look into this, and just to be clear for everybody's, education on this is, because I think we've talked about this too before, but it maybe as a reminder then. If the 2 fire districts, if you have less than 5, we have a process for filling it. If we have nobody that comes forward to fill it, and we had people that were interested potentially in filling positions, if we don't fill it and it goes 90 days, I think it's 90 days, then it goes back to the county to fill, which gets interesting. And even if they want to take this on, I mean, I've heard of fire districts that have gone without filling a position for a long time because the county doesn't even want to take this on. So it gets muddy very quickly. So I would support, us being intentional about if we want it to go increase or decrease or whatever, that, and we go to a vote of the people and we make that instead of relying on the county to fill it or something like that.
Never with the county.
No. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for the feedback. And again, I appreciate the engagement.
So, real quick, have they done any polling of the citizens in Boston yet?
No, not yet. There hasn't been much outreach on this. I think they're waiting for this March 10th kind of endorsement of, there might not be engagement even after that until they've taken a formal vote to put it onto the ballot, and then the outreach and messaging and all of that stuff. I'm not sure that. I'm sure that will be a point of discussion at the March 10th meeting. So
I'm just curious about opposition in Boston.
I think a big part of that will be whatever that financial picture looks like too. You know, is this gonna cost us a huge amount of money more, or is it neutral, or is it less? And that makes a big difference. So,
Yeah, what's the process of extracting Bothel's true costs out of their budget? Cause I know that the fire department budget doesn't include all the like peripheral services that provide service to the fire department.
great point. And that's one of the things that in that financial picture, how do you compare before and after? Do you compare to what we're doing now? Because they're only paying for 10% fire chief, for example, and it's very lean. Do you,
it seems like if they have like X number of employees, like they have 300 employees and 100 are fire, then like 1/3 of their, you know, IT cost or 1/3 of their, et cetera.
well, it's more complicated than that even too, because like, for example, the city, unlike us, you know, everything's here under our roof. The city has a finance division, an IT division, a public works division, administration, all those. And there are positions that are covered in the city's budget to do fire department work. So do you include those positions in that apples to apples comparison of what those impacts are going to be? And that's not me. That's going to be, you know, the finance manager there, his name's Quan, and they're actually they're going to engage with a third party to do some due diligence of and review all of this, you know, to help make and help give credence to whatever the picture looks like.
Okay,
All right. Well, thank you very much.
moving on. No new business, chief.
Yes. So we need to have an executive session. I'm going to actually say
Is that new business or under?
no. I'm sorry. No new business. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
thank you.
I thought you were skipping new business. My bad.
No, projected agenda. We have Commissioner Webster that will be attending virtually. Water District meeting on the 12th. Here at 61's, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Last year was at their offices.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have absences planned?
So I have a question. So, okay, never mind. So we just have the water district meeting on the 12th, and we have our meeting on the 19th. Got it.
And we have appreciation banquet, May 16th. Do we have a time yet for that? I thought I seen
I
noon.
think it's new.
Noon
Well,
before.
Noon, noon
Yeah.
before.
Invite went out, so.
Yeah,
it's already
well,
beginning.
All right,
Thank you.
and then Lake Chelan coming up. Okay, moving on.
Oh, and
to-
I will be at the Northwest Leadership Seminar this next week, leaving Tuesday afternoon and then coming back Friday evening. I will be available by phone if anything happens, but and along with the rest of the leadership team or exec team.
So we'll see you there.
Yes, but I'm just making sure in case everybody's out there.
Well, May 7th, I won't be able to attend. I'll be working.
May 7th.
Correct.
You want to try virtual?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put you down as excused absence and pop in. Okay,
I'm gonna miss May 7th.
May 7th. Are virtual at all, Eric? Okay. Okay, anybody else? Moving on, we have an executive session, chief, or is it gonna be a discussion?
Yes, I'm yes. I'm gonna put it under two different areas, under the evaluation, RCW 4230-110-1F, evaluation of complaints and charges. Oh. Yeah, I mean,
Because it's.
well, actually, you know what?
Different.
Actually, you know what? I don't need to, I can wait on that briefing. So
Okay.
let's just keep it under the one that we have,
Okay.
which is 4230-110-1G, applicant qualifications and employee performance.
So is there gonna be a decision?
Yes. I will be asking for a decision.
Okay, time frame?
Let's start with 20 minutes.
Okay,
Maybe take a break and then
6:30, 20 minutes.
take a break and then start the executive session.
Quick. Run,
6:35. Well, I'm also doing this for.
okay,
so we can-
6:35. Okay, executive session will start 6:35 for 20 minutes.
Thank you. I don't,
Be here.
no, I don't have to,
All
I don't have to use the facilities.
right, just confuse me.
So, and I am fine with both Andres and Beatrice being here.
Okay. Yeah, she'll leave. No, Beatrice gets ready. She'll kick her out. So David, is Gail taking you to the train station Tuesday?
I need to.
You know,
Sorry. Need to pause recording.
I may be a long time.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, it's 7:10. We're back in session again. We discussed in great detail and feel that we'd like a little bit more information.
Okay,
So
What-
I'm going to take a vote as far as is everybody ready to move forward with this decision, or do we want to table it? All in favor of tabling it until we get more information, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody in favor of just going ahead with this?
hold on, what?
How many was it? Right.
I think it was, I think, yeah.
Is there anybody that wants to move forward with a figure tonight?
The whole story, the
No,
majority.
it's unanimously tabled. Okay,
So bring it back to the
okay.
board.
So what the board would like to do is, Tyler, you said it best, the comparison.
Yeah, if we could just get the numbers back with just the comparables that were used for the union contract. And
Okay.
Use the same comparables, and just so that way we have a median set with the comparables that were used. And then we can move forward with those median
Okay.
weights and those numbers.
Okay.
Okay. All right, 7:12. Meeting adjourned.
How would you like me to address the bottom fire chief?
Yeah, that's the hard one. Maybe the median of the three that you added would be reasonable, or
The what's that?
the additional three departments that were added in, like a median of those three or something. Or maybe Buffalo fire, because I assume that the fire chief in Buffalo would have been lower than, would have been included in that.